Well, good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? I am sorry to be about a half an hour late. But you know, you start playing with stuff and it just starts to get to be, ooh, I could do this and ooh, I could do that. And in fact, I'm noticing that this is a very popular set with demonstrators. So I thought I'd better let you know that if you want it, you better get it sooner rather than later, or you'll be waiting for it to come back in stock. As always, thank you for shopping with me and keeping me going. There is the website where you can purchase the items that I have today. I'll leave that there so you can grab a screenshot. In 1, 2, 3. All right. If you need it, let me know. So the gears and textures is what we're talking about. This is the die cuts. And I tried to just, you know, most of them are here. I've used a couple of them. But that's how I start. I just cut everything out, okay? And this is the stamp set. So you've got kind of some stamps and dies, you know, that you can use. This you can layer up, and lots of little bits and pieces for your whoever likes to do, you know, your own background. This is great. I would probably use this for several other cards, not just die cards, because there's some great little backgrounds in here that you can use. Even these gears don't necessarily have to come across as gears, depending on how you use them. And that's where I was getting stuck because I was so excited. So this is gears and textures and the dies. And if you want the numbers, just let me know and I'll get them for you. Or you can just put in gears and textures and it should come up on the site. So also what I used today was stylish shapes. And I used the 3 smallest ones. That's why I left them here. Okay. I'm just going to get rid of those. And so I stamped out some of the bits and pieces out of there. I also, as you can see, stamped on the little squares and then didn't end up using it because I didn't care for it. It's okay. So, you know, this is obviously not silver, gold, and bronze or paper or sparkly paper or that kind of thing. But don't think that you can't use your texture paper. Okay, this is a great one. This is Need for Tweed, in case you want to know. And it's still online, and actually it's on last chance product. So it's discounted. I think it's $8.75 instead of the $12.50. The item number is 166144. And again, all you have to do is put Need for Tweed and you'll find it. All right? So I did, you know, all of that. Now, there's this little funky pile here of little bits and pieces. This is all the bits and pieces that come out of like these holes and those and these. And I don't know if you can see, but these came out of here. No, not here. Here. These came out of here. Okay? But look at that little tip. That could be a bell. I know. You're reaching. But there's circles and there's little, these things that kind of look like bones to me or like a waist pinched in. But I mean, it's a cool shape. Okay. So don't forget about that. I'm going to get rid of those. So we do not need those. Goodbye. All right. And also, I don't know if you noticed, now that I've put everything where I can't reach it, that this little shape here, you might be saying, what is that for? Is that just a little, you know, extra piece? No, it's a light bulb. And there's two cutouts that you can use to make your Edison light bulbs. And I'm not sure if this needs to go up in there. Obviously it can't on that one, but I'm thinking maybe it was supposed to go up higher. So I will try that later and let you know. Okay? So there's those. And let's get rid of all of these. And don't forget, there's even, I don't know if you saw it, but there's little circles and there's a little I call it a cross. It's a Phillips, I think. Don't quote me on that. All right, so there's all of those. And then, so I'm going to be showing you 3 cards today. And I'm going to be showing you some techniques and some tips. And then the last card I just did, these are the bits and pieces that are left. I just, again, punched out some gears and stuff. And these are the colors, and I'll let you know what those are. So let's clear off our workstation. We'll keep these in mind because this is where I'm starting. Also, don't forget to shop your stash because these worked perfect. They are retired. I don't think they're online anymore, but just, you know, shop your stash because the colors that you have from your old bits and pieces, your accessories, there's probably a color that might match whatever colors you're using. Okay, off my soapbox. Foam adhesive strips. These come in handy when you're putting a big piece of paper on a card that you want to raise up. Okay, so I don't know if you've seen these or not. They're item 141825. And they're a nice long strip that you can just cut down and use where you want, where you need. Okay. So let's bring in a card, shall we? So here's the card that I made. And I'll hold it up. And like I said, I was going to use, I'll put a little one on so you can see. I was going to use these, but it just got to be too much. So then I just cut out some basic beige in these sizes. So I just measured those and did that, okay? This is basic beige, the front and the back of our two-tone paper. Old olive, let me see. Here we go. It's cherry cobbler, so there's obviously cherry cobbler there, and all the red you see is cherry cobbler. That's from that tweed. Need for tweed. Basic beige, which I also is right there, which you wouldn't think. It kind of looks a little green, where this is old olive. Oh, let's make sure you can see that. And you can see I raised up that whole sheet. Hi, Jackie. Thanks for watching. So what I did with this one is I cut this piece of paper down and I used my basic beige in first and second generation. And then I just kind of, I laid all these pieces out where I kind of wanted them. I took a picture and I saw that there was a big spot here and a big spot here. So when I started doing my background stamping, which you see all this little bit on here, that's how I figured out where I needed to make sure I put stuff. And then I just ended up filling the page. So I put a first and a second, and then I went down here and did a first and a second, and then I did the stamp here first, and I think there's another one here. And then I took the little gears and I did second generation, all of those, so they were really light. Okay. What else can I tell you? There's those little bits that matched perfectly. Remember to make your triangles for when you add those. Odd numbers works best. This was actually this color. I just turned it over onto there. So, you know, don't forget your patterns have 2 sides, so you can do that. What else do you need to know? I just placed these down and cut them off and then layered them on the card. So that is card number 1. Let's get all of that out of the way. And I will show you something else. Okay, what do I want to show you next? Next, I want to show you how I did a background. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, standard size. This is also 4 1/4, 5 1/2. I tried to put the little die to get it in the middle and I missed. So, don't know if you can see, but I figured out where the middle of this image is. And then I made myself a little grid. So this is basically, sorry, I'm on camera. This is basically just the card front and where the middle is. So then all you have to do, and the reason why I made this so big is so when you're sponging, you're not getting it on the piece that's going to be your card base. Because we can cut this down. We can't take off ink, right? So then I just had to line up that center line with that center line and then just hold it down. So I'm going to bring in Coastal Cabana and a brush. and sit down so I can see what I'm doing. Make sure we stayed lined up. Move over. There we go. So then you just want to hold here. Okay, we are going to, let me grab my scratch paper. We are going to put that up to there. Don't think we'll need it, but just in case. I like to keep my work surface clean. Let's make sure nothing's shifted. You could tape it down if you wanted, but it's not that bad. You want to take a lot of this off. You don't want a puddle like that on there, okay? And we want to condition our cardstock. Sorry, my brain went blank. We want to condition our cardstock by just swirling on a little bit. Now, I know there's not much left, but I'm just getting some of that ink onto there. Tap it off, and I start really slow rather than heavy until I notice that there's not a lot on there. Then I can press heavier and get the rest of the ink, okay? And this is forgiving enough that if you want to lift to look, you can. See? Plenty. It doesn't look like it was a lot on there until you reveal. So now I could go and judge the distance between here and here if I wanted to do another one and put 4 on, which is what I did on the card that I'm going to show you. I just wanted to show you how you can make yourself a little jig, if you will, and how I sponge. It's not necessarily the correct way to sponge. It's just what I do, okay? So then you can build from here. If we had 2 more, and see, I'm a little crooked. It's okay. You could also, like on the card that I'm going to show you next, I actually did go and do them crooked, like so and like so. So this is just a jump off point, okay? All right. And the next card. So there's what I told you I did, the 2 in the middle and then off and off. And then all I did was, obviously you can tell, I laid this back down and I just stamped what I wanted in all of those bits and pieces, okay? And yet it's clean on the background, right? Then I just took the stamps I wanted to use, and since they're clear, we can kind of do this and see where we like them. And then we can just put them on a block. Get it the way you want. Put it on a block. Let's see. Let's do that in... So these colors are Coastal Cabana, Pretty Peacock, and Lost Lagoon. Okay? So I'm just going to ink that up. I'm going to check it on my scratch paper to make sure that both of them come out nicely, since this one is so much smaller. I also want to see if I want to bridge the gap a little closer. Where's my... I'm looking for... Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. I'm just looking for my cleaner one. So now I'm going to take and put this down a little bit closer, since I know I have it on there. Line this up best I can without looking through, and stamp again and test. Like that a little better. All right, so now for real, we will just put it onto there, and there we go. Happy birthday, because, you know, we always need happy birthday, right? All right, so we got that done. Then it's just a matter of, I just picked up some pieces and started throwing them down. Where do I want what? And I came up with, I think, this. Now, I also wanted to show you something about this gear and this gear. All right. So remember that was that little bell shaped? Well, if you look, this little centerpiece will match up to that little bell shape, and then it's even. So look at your stamps, what you're doing, you know. If you put them on, you could put them on without lining that up, but isn't that cool? And then there's also a little circle that punches out of here. So you could take another circle and put it inside of there if you wanted to. And of course it's teeny tiny and I don't have my pick tool, which I would use. And you see, just add more to it, right? And then you could add this color around the background as well, because you got tons of them. All right, so sit back down. And let's just put this together. So I've got some glue and some dots. Where's my, and my little, this dealy-my-bob. So I'm just gonna add some glue, adhesive, and I think I'll put it there. I love this because it won't stick to here, but you do have to watch when there's circles. When there's circles, you might see a little bit of the glue. So I just take a tool and just get rid of those before I put it down. Okay. I didn't check to see if this one matches. I don't think so. So we'll just put that one down. And we'll put some more glue onto here. Make sure we get rid of any extra. And then we can line this up onto here. Oh. Maybe. And put that down. Okay. Oops, sorry. So there's that. So there's card number 2, just kind of quick and simple and easy. Now remember I told you that I took this grid and made 2 more here and 2 more here as fairly straight as I could. They weren't straight. That's okay. But what I did was after I cut it, after I got it, oh my goodness, after I put my squares on of color, then I cut this down, okay? And I also used embossing folder. Let me go grab it. Hold on one second. It's the mini corrugated 3D embossing folder. And so it looks like, you know, metal. I forget what it's called. Corrugated, I guess. This is 165559 if you like it. And you can use either side. I think yeah, either side it works because it's just the opposite. So they're both bumped up. All right. Also, hooray and birthday. Birthday comes out of here, which is Fabulous Sayings. Now this is that product of the month for January. Spend $75, you can buy it for $5. If you want to pick up the paper pack that was from last December that's still available, or last month, in December, you can also, you could choose which one you want. You can only get one per month per one $75 order. So you could choose this one, or you could choose those lovely blue papers. And if you go back a couple videos in December, I showed you that paper. So spend $75, get this one or that one for $5. You only get one at a time. Now, what you could do is if you bought the December paper, if this is still available in February, you could buy this one. So, just to let you know. So I cut that background down, and even though it was, you can tell right here, it was a little off-centered, and you can tell I made a boo-boo. I'm gonna have to figure out how to cover that up. I'm not sure. Some kind of a gem. Yeah, because you don't want to cover up the Y. Because I could do that and then cut it off. Maybe. Anyway, squirrel. Back to what I was saying. So I cut this down. I also cut this before I put it through the embossing machine. I cut it to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Remember, it's going to shrink down this way, but not sideways. So I had to go in and take off 1/8 of an inch more off of this side because this shrunk down a little bit more. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully. And then I put my hooray on the card, and I was just going to use this circle, but then I noticed that it was I couldn't get this in. It would have been covering half of this. So the fix to that is to use the circle put your hooray on there, and then put this outer circle. It works. And also, here's another little tip. Keep your words going the same way. That would not look good if the words were straight and these ones were crooked. Just little tips. I also used all 3 colors here, raised up this little one. That's just the circle. And here's where you can see that I did that, lined that up really good. And there again, I could take that medium color and put it in here. You'll also see that those 3 colors are just randomly put everywhere. Tried to make sure I had at least 3, you know, at least 3. Got 4 or 5 here. I only have 2 here. I wish I had another little one. Maybe I'll punch out a little baby circle or something to put there. Of like this color and a little baby circle like this one here. I don't know, that looks kind of funny too. Maybe I'll get another one of these gears in that color, in a color, and just put it up there because this one's a little big. See? Okay. So, oh, also, the happy birthday came out of this set, which is Seasons to Celebrate, which has lots of good words in here for you. This is a nice one to have. I'm always looking for words. I don't know about you, but I am always looking for words. So this makes it kind of nice and easy. I can grab this and probably 9 times out of 10, it'll have what I need. Okay? So, as I always do, I would like to know, I'd love to know if you're watching on live or if you're watching it on YouTube, and if you're watching it on the replay. So, which is your favorite? 1, 2, or 3? I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope that you will join me next week when I will be working, like as I said, I have so much fun with this. I want to dive into maybe some sparkle glittery paper to make it more of a girl card, because, you know, girls deal with gears too, right? It's nothing saying we can't. And then I also thought there's some shimmer paper that's kind of like an ore paper that might be really pretty to use. Excuse me. And then I've also seen where a lot of consultants have done a color and then added some emboss to it. Maybe not the whole thing, but they embossed like little chunks of it and made it really chunky, or a little bit, you know, of a gold or a copper color. So there's lots you can do with this. You can use it for backgrounds. I mean, some of these pieces aren't even gear related. A lot of the pieces that are in that background are not gear related. Like these, this. You could use all of those, even these 2, the arrows. So think about how you can pick apart your stamps. Think about how you can use them differently. Make your own backgrounds. Use them as they're intended, right? You could color them. You could do all kinds of things. You could take this one in a gray color, so it kind of looks like metal, and then you could make it dirty or rusty. So all kinds of things to try. I will see you next week. Thanks again for watching, Jackie. Have a great weekend. Bye.